Okay, this is Omid. Quote, you are the ones driving the positive and necessary change across the globe now and this very moment. End quote. Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, stood at One Young World delegates from over 200 countries. Quote, you are the future, you are the present. Okay, one thing, I started listening to it last night. I couldn't help it. I wanted to hear, but I didn't fully finish it. One thing that I realized in this particular image of Meghan at the One Young World, the color of her clothes, the choice she chooses. For some reason, I don't know, this might sound crazy. Blood. Okay, it's like, I don't know, blood means life. I don't know, I'm just thinking about it. Blood means life, so she wear the color red to give life to, or maybe passion about I don't know, the work, the One Young World. I don't know, I may sound crazy about that, but I thought of blood. When I see red, I thought of blood, and blood means life. Okay, I don't know, so let me leave that alone. I don't know what that means. When I'm editing, I'll insert something, see what color red means. Alright, so I'm editing. I went to look for the meaning of the color red. It means red has a range of symbolic meanings through many different cultures, including life, which I thought at first, health, I also thought that, vigor, war, courage, anger, love, and religious fervor. The common thread is that all these required passion. Oh my God, maybe this is why she wore red. The common thread is that all this required passion. Wow, passion. Very interesting. Okay, so let's get back to the original recording. I didn't even start yet, and I'm giving myself a whole bunch of work. All right, so let's get back to the original recording. I don't even want to go further into that thought, so let's listen. Okay.
Well, good evening, everyone. It is very nice to be back in the UK. Hi, everybody. It is so good to be back here with all of you. And it is very nice to be back with all of you at One Young World. As you'll likely hear many times this week, look, as we just heard, you'll hear all sorts of things. Some very heavy, some very uplifting, but the resounding spirit I believe you'll hear is that you are the future. But I would like to add to that you are also the present. You are the ones driving the positive and necessary change needed across the globe now in this very moment.
Okay, one thing that I realize is that I don't know if they have any impromptu on this particular stage, you know, around her, like they usually have. Maybe they do, but one thing I realized that she's doing, she's looking at her note. Okay, you will see every few 2 or 3 sentences her eyes look down. That means she's looking at her note. So there's probably, maybe, okay, I could be 100% wrong because the camera is only focusing on her, not other places, is that there probably no teleprompter where she could look at as she's reading. Okay, but I see her looking at her desk, at the desk in front of her, which means she memorized the speech that she's giving. Okay, she was an actress, so she memorized the speech, but occasionally she look at her note to follow through. All right, so that's one thing that I realized. And the tone of her voice as she saying her speech, this is what makes her really good. She's not rushing through the speech. All right, she's not rushing through the speech. She's giving emotion through the speech and her experience as well. Okay, you're gonna see that later on, but let's continue.
And for that, I'm so grateful to be in your company today. It was several years ago in 2014 that I was first invited to be a counselor at One Young World.
This is where she's bringing in her personal experience and here. Alright, letting people know I've been here before. I was there before Harry. Alright, so this is one thing I caught on that. And she's giving her experience and all of that.
And in many ways at the time, I was probably a lot like each of you. Young, ambitious.
There's the word ambitious on her previous podcast. Oh, today she has another podcast going on. Oh my God, I have so much to catch up. Alright, so there she is mentioning the word ambitious. Alright, so where people in the UK seems to attack the word ambitious. You're not supposed to be ambitious about certain, about your life or things you want to accomplish. There she is mentioning it. Another word, she's doubling down on that word. Alright, so let me move it back slightly.
And in many ways at the time, I was probably a lot like each of you. Young, ambitious, advocating for the things I deeply and profoundly believed in. And also looking around and wondering, how on earth did I get here? Have any of you today so far had that feeling, that pinch me moment where you just go, how am I here?
The thing that I get from this, her humbleness. Alright? Humble. She's humbling herself. Knowing, look, it could have been anybody else up here, but it's me. But yet, how? Alright, these are some of the questions sometimes you can't believe you made it that far. So this is her humbleness into the speech.
It's a lot. And at that dinner, there were about 20 to 30 of us.
Experience.
And there I was the girl from Suits.
This.
And I was surrounded by world leaders, humanitarians, prime ministers, and activists that I had such a deep and long-standing respect and admiration for.
Humbleness, and then letting people know I've been with other world leaders before. These are the things the squad be saying on social media when the derangers are popping up. Oh, it's because of the voyeur. It's because of this. But there she is restating, I've been there before. Okay, it's not because of Harry that I've met some certain people. I've been here before. I've been next to other world leaders. The squad been repeating it over and over to the Rangers. There's Meghan putting a stamp on it, letting people know.
And I was invited to pull up a seat at the table.
There's Harry, her husband.
I was so overwhelmed by this experience. I think I even saved my little paper place card that said my name on it. Just proof that I was there, proof that I belonged.
There she is. She's letting.
Because the truth was, I wasn't sure that I belonged. I was so nervous. Oh, I doubted myself, and I wondered if I was good enough to even be there, if what I was doing in the world, albeit important and meaningful as far as I saw it, was it deserving to have a seat at this table?
There she is. They didn't accept her at the seat of their table. There she is. Her and her husband create their own. I mean, Harry didn't have to, but Harry felt like, hey, I want to be at her table. Her table is more fun. It's more lively than those old people trying to stick with tradition that it keeps on stepping on people's neck. Let's continue.
But one young world saw in me
there she is. Just
what
look
I
at
wanted
that.
to see fully in myself. They saw in me just as I see in you, the present and the future.
Wow.
And I reiterate.
That's for the royal family. She's saying, royal family, the present is now, the future is now. These are the people you should be helping, embracing. That's what I see on that part here. Alright, move it slightly back. You will see every few moments she look down. Her eyes is gonna look down on the podium.
Just as I see in you.
There she is.
The present and the future.
There she is. She just looked.
And I reiterate that point because oftentimes we speak to young adults about the years ahead, about what you'll do, what you'll have to adopt,
She's
fix
looking.
from previous generations. And also what legacy you will leave.
That's the thing. Baldy doesn't understand. What legacy are you gonna leave behind once you're gone, when you can no longer speak? Perfect example, his mother, okay, Harry's mother. She left a legacy. Nobody can deny that, no matter how much they try to put her down when she was alive. But her work speaks for itself. Even the Rangers, who probably being paid to life for the royal family, nobody can deny Princess Diana's work. These are the things people who are in position of power should think about. How do you want the future to be seeing you as the now? Because the moment you take one step and you take another step, it's been already the history of it. All right, so you need to think how each step you left behind, how the future is gonna look at you. All right, so this is the thing they were trying to do to Meghan. Try to rewrite history in the now. Okay, while we're living, many of us are witnessing her presence, but the royal rats were already thinking of her future, how the future is gonna see her. This is where the squad came in and said, no, not so fast. Not so fast, royal rats. We are witnessing her work right now. You can't write history when history haven't even happened yet. You better, if you're gonna write for the history book, you better write it correctly. And this is where many of us are come in. All right, so let's continue.
Too often in that.
Let me move it back slightly.
Into the future.
Oh,
And
okay, let me pause, move it back slightly, because she mentioned it.
saw in me what I wanted to see fully in myself. They saw in me, just as I see in you, the present and the future.
There it is. Mm-hmm.
And I reiterate that point because oftentimes we speak to young adults about the years ahead, about what you'll do, what you'll have to adopt to fix from previous generations.
That's right.
And also what legacy you will leave.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Too often in that, we neglect the point that you're doing it now.
Exactly. This is for us, squaddies. I think this part was for us, letting us know, many of us who speaking for the truth. There was a video I saw over the weekend. It's a political from MSN or something like that. They were talking about what some young people are doing. People, previous generation, young people who are growing up now are doing things that my mothers and not so much my grandmother. I spoke so many times about this kind of things where certain generation stop fighting, and then, you know, where the drug and the alcohol and neighborhoods and all that, I spoke about that. Like the system have numbed down my mother's generation in some way, shape or form. They're not about moving forward. You know, this topic is very controversial. It's very hard to explain. You have to pay attention. You don't really need to, well, you need to read books, but at the same time, if you're paying attention the way things is being run, if you're seeing the things that's happening in your communities or a world at large, you could see the system is preventing certain groups, whenever there is progress, you see, you take one step forward and then boom, you take several steps back. All right, so the system, it doesn't really have to be the UK, and the US as well. All right, so when there is progress being made, all right, whoever's in power see that, you know, they're gonna be at a disadvantage, so they switch the narrative or the progress that's being made. They put a halt. They create some unimaginary problem so we could focus our attention on. Meanwhile, you know, they at, you know, the position that they are comfortable, so they give us a problem to deal with, and then that way we don't focus on the task at large, you know, to move forward, progress, be able to understand your past, your present, and knowing how you're gonna move forward. Because if the things keeps on happening, repetition after repetition, I mean, the blueprint is there. You could see automatically what might happen if you do certain things, this kind of thing. So I'm moving off, so let's get back to the original recording. Okay, so let's continue.
In this present moment, this is where it's all beginning.
Mm-hmm.
The first year I joined the delegation in Dublin, I worked with a young woman from Eritrea. And she described how she had escaped her home country, fleeing with bullets fired above her head.
Yeah, that I've seen that picture of her with that young lady many times, but never heard the speech before. And recently, I've heard of it, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I don't know if that video came out yet. Someone had just put it out. I was like, "Oh my God, she is brave. She's this, she's that," and she did a small little speech, and the squad had shared. I commented on it. I was like, "Wow, I didn't know she went through all of that." So many people around the world are looking for a better future, but some group just keep on crushing them down. Let's continue.
I still remember it so well. I remember my shock. I also remember her courage.
Mm-hmm.
My recognition of how much continues to go on each day, with so many turning a blind eye, and yet, despite all odds, she, like so many, still persevered.
Mm-hmm.
I followed up that trip, as David mentioned, to joining the delegation again in 2016 in Ottawa. I was very lucky to receive a day off of filming, specifically to take a quick flight from Toronto up to Ottawa, and to be able to join this work again for One Young World. Being with some people that I admired most, including former President of Ireland, Mary Robinson, who you heard from earlier. I joined you in London in 2019, and by that point, it's fair to say, my life had changed rather significantly. I
Yep.
was now married, and I was now a mom.
Her life experiences. I gotta give to the UK crowd over there. They welcome her.
My worldview had expanded exponentially, seeing the global community through the eyes of my child. And I would ask, what is this world have come to adopt? And what can we do? What can I do to make it better? I am thrilled that my husband is able to join me here this time.
Since I first visited Africa at 13 years old, I've always found hope on the continent. In fact, for most of my life, it has been my lifeline, a place where I've found peace and healing time and time again. It's where I felt closest to my mother and sought solace after she died, and where I knew I had found a soulmate in my wife.
I am thrilled that my husband is able to join me here this time.
Feminist right there.
Be able to see and witness firsthand my respect for this organization, this incredible organization, and all that it provides as well as accomplishes.
You know what just popped up in my mind? How they both, okay, like Meghan had said when she was young, someone had mentioned to her, I think it's a friend of a family, that salt and pepper goes together when you're passing it around the table. So her and her husband, they go together. So that part just remind me when Harry was giving his speech at the UN. Okay, Meghan was there to support him. There it is here. In return, Harry's here to support Meghan. And then there's the nod they give each other on in their speech. Meghan just gave Harry a little nod in her speech. All right, let's continue.
One Young World has been an integral part of my life for so many years before I met him.
There it is. She's letting it know. She's letting it know. I've been doing this before I met my husband. Oh my God, she's throwing those shades here. And it's the truth. Throwing the shade. I've been with world leaders way before I met my husband. All right? She worked her butt off to be up there. Oh, I love the way that I stop it here. Let's see. Oh, never mind.
Be able to see and witness firsthand my respect for this organization, this incredible organization, and all that it provides as well as accomplishes. One Young World has been an integral part of my life for so many years before I met him.
There it is.
So to meet again here on UK soil with him by my side makes it all feel full circle.
This is where they were fighting for. They were fighting for that security. When I'm here, I need my security. All right, knowing what we know now. All right, so it's not just the UK charities that they have to deal with. There's so many other things they have to do in the UK. And this is Harry's home too. That's where he was born.
As a sidebar, earlier this afternoon, we sat down with a few of you delegates, and it was incredibly inspiring, the resounding themes that came up about representation, about inclusion, about access,
Yep.
and about trying to shift the global perspective for all of us as a global community to one of curiosity over criticism.
Oh, she knows that very well. She's speaking about that through her own experience. She knows that very well.
My husband has long advocated for important and necessary impact in the world, focusing a huge part of his life's work on the youth. So for both of us, bearing witness to the power that you hold in your hands and the unbridled enthusiasm and energy that you have to see things come to fruition, it is just an absolute privilege. I'm incredibly humbled to not just stand before each of you, but to stand beside you. To not just stand before each of you, but to stand beside you.
What I got from this here is that she's saying this movement cannot be achieved by just one person or just by herself or just by you yourself. Okay? She's with you on this movement to make change happen. All right? So she's working besides us to make change happen. This is what I got from this. All right, let's continue.
We often hear people say the time is now, but I'm going to double down on that.
I feel like I'm gonna move it back slightly right here. I should have stopped when I first heard it.
Bridled enthusiasm
This.
and energy that you have to see things come to fruition. It is just an absolute privilege. I'm incredibly humbled to not just stand before each of you, but to stand beside you. We often...
All right, this part where she just said, talking to those young people and see how energized they are for the future, I feel like it's just recharged Harry and Meghan to said, okay, we have a lot of work to do. The young people already, Harry had said those young people needed a platform to be heard. Remember that on the Obama Foundation with Medady Hobson.
How do you understand it to begin with? How do you know that that's a part of your destiny?
So you make mistakes, like we all have, and then slowly you find your way and you start to realize that you've got an incredible platform to make really positive change.
You were going around the world. How did you get more focused on things that you cared about? I mean, we see a lot of pictures of you with children. You spent a year in Lesotho,
Yep.
right? And, you know, bring that to life for us.
I get all of my passion, inspiration, and energy from young people. And that is from the ages of 6 or 7 in the Caribbean, when you get a 6-year-old turning around to you and telling you exactly how much damage your country and the developed world is causing them, all the way to 28, 30-year-olds who at some point in their life have already a better understanding of duty and service than I ever did at that age. Because it's all about giving back. So yeah, I think that, look, lots of people say that, oh, your job of traveling the world is wonderful. Of course it's wonderful. But when we get sent to some countries, we don't always get to see the beautiful parts. We're always there trying to deal with some of the issues, but also doing everything we can to bring people together to make change, to make positive change. And it's an absolute joy and a privilege to meet the younger generation of change makers across the world who genuinely believe in the fact that they, as a single person and as a group and as a community and as a nation, not only can change their country, but can change the world as well. And that is what keeps me going on a day-to-day basis.
So when a 6-year-old says to you that your country is ruining theirs, what do you do or say?
Agree with them slightly. We all know the issues that are out there, you know, with the climate and the environmental issues. And I don't want to say it's refreshing, but it is nice to know that kids that young have an appreciation and understanding greater than some of the people who have been on this planet for 60, 70 years. I think without question, I mean, I've been a pessimist many times because of the work that we end up doing. You can be surrounded by negativity sometimes. But as I said just now, the younger generation of the world has turned me into an optimist because they are the best connected, the most passionate generation that I think that we've ever had. And what we need to do is be able to create a platform so that they can be heard, because they have the solutions to some of the world's biggest problems. What we need to do is be able to create a platform so that they can be heard, because they have the solutions to some of the world's biggest problems.
Okay, so this speaking to the young people probably just energize them, Harry and Meghan, even more to continue the work that they're doing, because majority of the time the noises that we are hearing, the negative bashing about Harry and Meghan, it's just a few people who's making it seems like it's a huge amount. It is there. They are paying people to spread those negativity.
A few moments later.
He was playing out in
There.
She's the most toxic.
The most toxic? Did I just hear that correctly? The most toxic? Wow. So what is toxic? Some of these Brits. The most toxic? There's no one worse. Not only Charles, but Andrew. Are you kidding me? I didn't hear that part. But wow. Listen again. What?
Yeah, literally on the street arguing about Meghan Markle. She's successful. Absolute hypocrite.
Purposely travelled out of their way to boo them, which I mean is more of a waste of their energy than it is anyone else's.
Wow. I love those young kids. Hearing the negative bashing about Harry and Meghan, it's just a few people who's making it seems like it's a huge amount. It is there. They are paying people to spread those negativity, and some people who don't understand the basic concept of living in this world. This is a shared world. Those who don't understand it, who have the platform, are not using it to their best of abilities. Instead, they rather spread misinformation. So that's the problem with those people who have the platform to influence people. But instead, they rather go in the negative route. But Harry and Meghan knows it's just noise. The vast majority of people are on their side. So it's almost done. Let's continue.
I often hear people say the time is now, but I'm going to double down on that by saying your time is now. The important work can't wait for tomorrow.
That's right.
And this week the world is watching as you cement your place in history by showcasing the good that you are doing today.
That the thing she just said, that she's talking about herself. Let's listen to that again. That was her. She's talking about herself here.
Cement your place in history.
That's it.
By
Her place. Okay? To show up on a place where the bashing is like, oh my goodness, non-stop. Alright, walked back there and said, I'm here to stay. This is my husband home, my child's home. This is where Archie was born. Okay, I have the right to be here as well. I didn't do anything wrong. That's what I feel from this part. Alright, moving it slightly back again.
important work can't wait for tomorrow.
There it is.
And this week the world is watching as you cement your place in history by showcasing the good that you are doing today.
There it is.
In the present moment.
That's right.
As we embrace the moment of now to create a better tomorrow.
That's right.
And with that, it is my absolute honor and pleasure to declare this year's One Young World Summit officially open.
Alright, so I'm sure alright, so I'm sure later on, as throughout the week, as more people putting snippet or little clips here and there of that speech, I probably will have more to say. But for now, this is it. Let me read some of the comments and some other tweets. It's 26 minutes so far. All right. Articulate, smart, and excellent speaker. All that plus her legendary, beautiful face. A queen. Look how she sits upright. Posture. That's what I got here. Okay, imagine telling this smart girl to be mute and work behind people who have no jobs and absolutely nothing to say. Nah, long live the queen of podcasts. Okay, I understand why the royal family fear Meghan will overshadow Kate. Alright, there's more comments here, but I'm just reading what's on the surface. However, Meghan is ultimately girl's girl. She will have been such a great friend, support, and mentor to Kate. That I've said this so many times, but these people, they think their skin color is what makes them, I don't know, what's inside their brain. Their skin color is just the facade of things. Why? She's right. She could have been such a good mentor for both of them. I've said this so many times, where I think the universe, whatever Princess Diana, the spiritual world is able to do, okay, Princess Diana chose Meghan for both boys, and Harry was able to pick it up. Where for social media things, PR thing, Meghan could have helped both Kate and William. Meghan have said she doesn't mind being in the background.
I think that knowing that I've just been here for 3 months, right? And in that amount of time, but with that said, for me, it's very important to, once you hit the ground running, even if you're doing it quietly behind the scenes, which is what I've focused my energy on thus far, it's very important to, once you hit the ground running, even if you're doing it quietly behind the scenes, which is what I've focused my energy on thus far, even if you're doing it quietly behind the scenes.
Got it? Let's do better.
For the others just to take all the praise that they're craving for, she doesn't mind being in the background because she knows what's important. But no, these people, they're so evil. They just wanted to shut her down, completely thinking whatever they've been doing, meaning the royal family, they're the only one who knows best. But they know nothing, no morality, nothing. Okay, look at here. Prince Harry is a traitor. How is he a traitor? That's what's trending right now. But anyway, we know people with good mind and intention know what's going on. All right, let me continue with that comment. Kate could have supported and mentored her as well. Kate let her snobbery and jealously get in the way of what could have been fantastic. They're lost. That's absolutely right. There's more comments. Okay, let's see here. Okay, he described Meghan's speech better than I could, but she's a perfect orator. She speaks to the people. Exactly. Okay, so he retweeted his thing.